Hi winners, this is Dr. Srikanth from Team MDS Conquer. Now I will be having a quick glance over the subject microbiology. As already discussed, microbiology according to the NEET blueprint is split into two parts. One is a general microbiology and second one is oral microbiology. So don't neglect oral microbiology, it has its own importance. So the first thing is about this particular classifications in which the instruments are classified into the critical instruments, the semi-critical instruments, and the non-critical instruments. So coming to the critical instruments are the instruments which enters the sterile tissue or the vascular tissue, which is high prone for risk, and these are the examples that you can make a note: implants and everything. And the mode of sterilization is by autoclave if it is heat stable. If it is heat sensitive, then you have to go for ETO oxide or H2O2 plasma sterilizer. The second one is semi-critical, which come in contact with the mucous membrane or non-intact skin. So they require a high level disinfection. And the instruments are endoscopes, bronchoscopes, and etc. And the most commonly used disinfectant for this is the glutaraldehyde. The next goes to the non-critical instruments which come in contact with intact skin but not the mucous membrane. They require a low level disinfection. The next comes to the temperatures of autoclave and everything. So autoclave, the standard temperature is 121 degrees centigrade at 15 minutes and at 15 lbs, that is the pressure. Or else you can increase to 126 degrees centigrade where the holding time will be decreased to 10 minutes. Or the something called as a flash sterilization. What is flash sterilization is 134 degrees centigrade, 3 minutes and 30 lbs. So during flash sterilization, you don't wrap the instruments, whereas in normal sterilization, that is 15 minutes of holding time, you're going to keep a wrap over the instrument. The next comes is the hot air oven. It's a recent modification, so please do follow these numbers. That is 160 degrees centigrade, 120 minutes, that is 2 hours, or 170, 60 minutes, or 180 degrees centigrade, 30 minutes. So as the temperature increases, you can see there is an increasing in the temperature. The holding time decreases. The next comes is ETOX. This is a colorless liquid. The boiling temperature was once asked in the examination, that is 10.7 degrees. Has a high penetration at a normal temperature and pressure. It is highly explosive at a concentration greater than 3%. So it is generally used in combination with 10% of carbon dioxide or nitrogen to make it less explosive. So what is the mode by which it's going to inhibit or it's going to destroy the bacteria is this. Please do check it. The next one is radiation. There are two types of radiations for the sterilization. One is non-ionizing radiation and second one is ionizing radiation. So please do make a note which comes under non-ionizing and which comes under ionizing. Coming to the non-ionizing radiations, here electromagnetic wavelengths longer than those of the visible light are regularly used. So here are the few important things, like ultraviolet radiation is useful for disinfecting enclosed areas such as biosafety cabins in laboratories. Your entry ways, the ways where you're going to enter the operation theaters and laboratories and everything comes under this. Next comes is the ionizing radiations. Ionizing radiations, the examples are the X-rays, gamma rays, cosmetic rays, which are highly lethal to DNA and other vital structures in the body. So they have the high penetration power, okay, and therefore they don't increase the temperature. They don't increase the temperature. So these comes under the cold sterilization. Okay, these comes under the cold sterilization. What are disinfected or sterilized by cold sterilization? This is the list. So please do make a note. Cold sterilization is a sterilization in which the sterilization is carried at a very low temperature. Okay, so all these comes under closed. That can be chemical, radiation, or membrane filters. All these comes under the cold sterilization. The next comes is the disinfection of the sputum can be done by autoclaving. That is most effective. Or else you can use 5% phenol, cresol, or by burning or by boiling or incineration. Disinfection of the blood splits. Okay, once given in the NEET examination, that is 5% of NaOCl is regularly useful for disinfection of the stained gauze or the needles, and 0% is useful for the surface disinfection, like to splits on the hospital, the blood splits on the hospital, everything should be cleaned with 1% as a surface disinfectant. Method of sterilization of spores is autoclaving at 134 degrees centigrade for 1 to 1.5 hours, or keeping in one normality NaOH for 1 hour, or 0.5 percentage of sodium hypochlorite for 2 hours. So they can ask you diagram based question. This is a high efficiency particulate air filter. Okay, so basing upon this, basing upon the size of the pores, they are divided into A, B, C, D, E. So I mean, like, basing upon the size of the pore, the efficiency of these can be determined. Okay, so you can see this, the efficiency is keep on increasing. As the pore size decreases, the efficiency is increasing. The next comes, these are the filters. Okay, do make a note about the diagram based question related to this, once given for the medical students. So make a note about this filter, the advantages and disadvantages. The next comes a few notes about the filters. Okay, different types of filters. What are candle filters? What are sintered glass filters? What are membrane filters? And what is the size according to APD? The most effective size for sterilization for these filters is 0.22 millimeters. So please do make a note about these filters, which are very, very important. Then comes this disinfection tests. Okay, so make a note about the tests, what are the difference and which is useful for what, everything, because this is given in recent aims in 2018, if I'm not wrong, 2018 it is repeated. So please do make a note all these terms and terminologies directly from the textbook. And next comes the factors that affects the potency of a disinfectant. That is, it's almost similar to the factors that controls the the efficiency of the root canal irrigation. Okay, the concentration of the substrate, contact period, pH of the media, temperature, nature of the organisms, and presence of any exogenous material. Because for example, if an organic material is present, it's going to decrease the efficiency of disinfectant. So most commonly used disinfectants, these questions are frequently asked and frequently repeated. Glottaldehyde, which is 2%, it is called as Citex. It is a mode of sterilization for endoscopes and everything. Okay, and phenol 5%, sodium hypochlorite 0.5 to 5%, chlorhexidine 1 to 4%, powdered iodine is the best skin disinfectant, that is 10%. It's also called as betadine, and alcohol is used in at 70 to 80%. And please do make a note about different modes of or methods of sterilization for different agents. You have a 1.5 page table in your PP books microbiology part. I want you to go back and check, because most of the disinfectant based or sterilization based questions were covered in the 2 pages. The next comes the spores that are useful for the disinfection, that is most commonly asked, that is the moist heat autoclave. The spore that is useful is called as Bacillus stereothermophilus, which is also called as Xenobacillus stereothermophilus. This is the same spore that is useful for plasma sterilization also. And do make a note, what is the spore that is useful for dry heat, what is the spore that is useful for ionizing radiations, what is the spore that is useful for the gas sterilization. The other methods of knowing the efficiency is by using a thermocouple, which is going to give the temperature, or by using a chemical indicators which changes color on time, that is a brownish tube, or by using your biological indicator, that is called as a biological spore. Of course, this is very, very important. Most of your questions in the examinations, for sure, there will be 1 or 2 questions. I hope you're done with the video on immunoglobulins, all the questions that moves around the immunoglobulins, your complementary system and everything at your best. Okay, if not, just have a glance about your notes. Don't go back to the notes. Don't go back to the videos, because video is going to eat away your time. Just have a glance over the notes, like what is classical, what is alternate, what are the examples, what are the C subunits which are involved in each and everything. So this is important. Okay, they can ask you the questions. Sedimentation coefficient is highest for 19. Okay, they can ask you molecular weight is highest for lowest for. Okay, your half-life 23 is most commonly asked question. Okay, so similarly your a classical pathway, what are involved in the classical pathway. So classical pathway most commonly involved are GM. Classical is general manager, we have to remember, in which M is preferred when compared to the G. This is what we have learned. Alternate is mostly sticking to AD. Okay, A and D, and A is better option when compared to that of the D. Okay, so which can transfer through the placenta. IgG because of its small size, which is present in the milk. GA are present in the milk, which is present in the gingival clavicular fluid. GAM are present in the gingival clavicular fluid, which is heat stable. Okay, IgE is heat stable. So all these are very, very important. And apart from this, IgA is present as a dimer. Okay, whereas IgM is present as pentamer. Okay, so both IgA and IgA and IgM, they have J chains in them. Okay, so what is this J chain? J chain is something that holds the monomers. So as IgA has two monomers, that is a dimer, both of these monomers are held together by a J chain. This has five. These are holded by, because IgM structure is something like you'll have five parts, 1 2 3 4 5. So this is going to be the structure. IgA is going to be like this. It's going to have two. So this is recently given for the medical students in the recent INICET examination, and of course this is repeated in the last NEET, and of course J chain is present is a question that is present given in 2019 NEET. So please do make a note. So this is what, like, valencies are 2 for IgG, and IgA has 2 and 4, because IgA can be present as a monomer or can be present as a dimer. IgM is 10 and 5, and IgD and E are 2 and 2. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. There are two forms. Okay, one is the serum form and other one is the secretory form. The serum form is principally a monomer. Okay, whereas your secretory form is a dimer. It has two monomers. Okay, two monomers. So the molecular weight, and you can make a note that IgA, which is found on the mucosal surface, are secreted as a dimer which holds together by J chain. This J chain is also present in IgM also. IgA and IgM. This is called a secretory IgA. So dimer of secretory IgM, because all of your immunoglobulins are going to be secreted by the plasma cells. Immunoglobulins are secreted by, they can ask you a question which is repeated. They are plasma cells. Even the J chain is also produced in the same cell. The J chain is also produced in the same cell, right? So please do make a note. Okay, and secretory IgA contains another glycosin-rich polypeptide called as secretory component or a secretory piece. Okay, this is not produced by the lymphoid cells but by the mucosal or glandular epithelial cells. This is an important point, so don't get confused whether they're asking J chain is produced by or whether they're asking the secretory piece is produced by. So please go through the lines here, okay, which were given as an exam, which was given as a question in 2018 NEET exam. Okay, then comes the hypersensitivities. I hope you're done with the hypersensitivities, at least like basic table, which I'm going to discuss now, but no need to go deep into the mechanism, but your examples of hypersensitivities are most commonly asked questions. So you can remember with like 4 hypersensitivities, type 5 is also added recently. I'm going to discuss that. Type 5 is nothing but it's a modified version of type 2. It's a modified version of just a type 2. So what is this? You can remember with the word acid, that is A for anaphylactic or atopy, and C for cytotoxic, I for immune complex mediated, D for delayed hypersensitivity. So this is a table that you have to make a note. A type 1 is mediated by Ig immunoglobulins. Okay, and type 2, that is cytotoxic or cytolytic, is mediated by IgG, IgM, and C. That is C nothing but classical. Classical is mainly dependent by general manager, GM. And same goes with immune complex mediated. It is also GM, and it is classical. Okay, right, and the last but not the least is in a delayed hypersensitivity, which is basically made by the T cells. So it takes hours to days to form, and rest all this is the least one, and this is going to take hours to days to form. So please do make a note about these examples, which are most commonly asked questions in the examination. So this is what the person who has given the classification. Okay, IgE mediated or reagent dependent, cytotoxic or cell stimulated. So all these delayed hypersensitivity or cell mediated hypersensitivity and everything. Then comes the type 5. I was stressing, like type 5 is something called as a stimulatory hypersensitivity, which is nothing but a modification of type 2 hypersensitivities. Which comes under type 3 is your LATS, that is long acting thyroid stimulators. All these examples, they comes under the type 5. If you don't find type 5 in the option, then you have to go for type 2 as an answer, because this is a modified form of a type 2 reaction. Hope you are well versed with these postulates. Most of your questions move around this, so please do learn these postulates. Then comes the stages of your bacterial growth curve, that is lag, log, stationary, and phase of decline. So LAG, LOG, A comes first. Okay, so most of us will get confused whether it is log or lag. A comes first, LAG comes first, followed by LOG. So important points: lag phase, the maximum cell size is obtained towards the end of the lag phase. Okay, end of the lag phase. Log phase, the cells are small and stained uniformly. Your stationary phase, so many questions will be there. Your exotoxins and secondary phase of decline is involution. So please do make a note this. They can ask you A first, O second. Okay, they can ask you giving 1, 2, 3, 4, and they can ask you identify this stage or phase, or they can ask you which of the following characteristic features that you can see in particular stage or phase. Then comes what is this PPLO? Okay, what is this PPLO? Pneumonia like organisms. Okay, these are nothing but a pneumonia like organisms, and this is an unsatisfactory name and has been replaced by mycoplasms. Mycoplasms previously used to be termed or named with this particular term. And do make a note, these are the organisms which called Behcet syndrome. So you have something called as a Behcet syndrome, right? So you have this PPLO. PPLO organisms are the organisms which called Behcet syndrome, and these mycoplasms are fungus-like form and branching filamentous. Okay, and to make a note of other points, these are the smallest known living organisms. They don't have cell wall but are bounded by 3-layered cell membrane. Okay, so that's the reason why they are gram negative, as they don't have cell wall, and they fried egg appearance. Okay, so fried egg appearance is the most commonly asked question. So what is the treatment for these? Okay, these are the effective drugs of choice for this treatment. So please do make a note of all these points. Classification of bacteria basing upon the temperature, mesophilic, thermophilic, and everything. So most familiar, just have a glance. Staining, what is gram positive, gram negative? What is a primary stain? Okay, then application of an iodine, then application of an decolorizing agent, then you are going to apply the counter stain. So if it takes, that it's a positive. If it doesn't takes, I mean, like if it takes the if it remains in the primary stain, then it's positive. If it takes the counter stain, then it's going to be negative. Then acid fast stain, okay, discovered by, modified by, what is the procedure? Make a note, 20% of sulfuric acid is used over here. Okay, so this is 20% of sulfuric acid. The same, they can ask you which is acid fast bacteria, which is non-acid fast bacteria. So by seeing the diagram, please do make a note of this. This is gram staining. So what are the counter stains that are used? These are the 3 counter stains. Regularly decolorization is done with, and make a note about the primary stains. And the mesosomes, what is the use of mesosomes? Mesosomes helps in the respiration and secretory process. Okay. What is protoplast? Protoplast is known as a naked plant cell, refers to all the components of plant excluding the cell wall. Then comes the medias. Okay, the medias that are useful for this particular organism. So these are the medias that are useful for the particular organism, and these medias are going to contain antibiotics to prevent the growth of other organisms, and to make a note of this. So how to differentiate? Okay, so if you take a gram positive cocci, first you have to do catalase test. If the catalase test is positive, then it is staphylococcus. If it is negative, then it is streptococcus. So once you want to differentiate different types of staphylococcus, then you have to go for coagulase test. So coagulase test, if it is positive, aureus. If it is negative, the rest all, that is SHE. This is S, H, and E. Then you have to go for novobiotin test to differentiate them. If novobiotin is positive, if it is positive, it is he. You're going to remove SHE, right? So you're going to remove S. If it is negative, it is S. If it is positive, it is H and E. Then comes, we are done with staphylococcus. Now the streptococcus. Streptococcus, basing upon the hemolysis, categorized into alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha are greenish discolored, partially hemolysis, whereas beta are colorless, complete hemolysis, and gamma are no hemolysis. The examples of these 3 types are these. So if you go a detail into the beta, basing upon the carbohydrate antigen, they are categorized into A to V, where I and G are missing. So it's going to be A, B, C, D, it's going to up to be V. Whereas in the types I and J are missing. So in the types which are missing, I and J are missing. All A to V are present, I and J are missing. So group A, what is the name? Group B, what is the name? Group C, what is the name? Okay. Then in group A, again you have a serotype classification basing upon the M protein. So this classification is 1, 2, 3, 4. So group D is here, that is comes under the gamma hemolysis, that is comes under the gamma type of hemolysis, no hemolysis, that is enterococci. So what is very specific to alpha? Okay, so if you want to go alpha has these things. Okay, the best example for alpha is pneumococci. And if you go to the beta, beta is bactericin sensitive is this example, whereas CMP test positive and this hydrolysis is positive for this organism. Then comes the gamma. Gamma, the positive, this organism. If it is negative, this organism. So please do make a note about this particular test, PYR test. What is the use of this? This is what I was talking about, the PYR test that is useful to differentiate enterococcal group D and non-enterococcal group D. So that's what the line that is given over here. So of course, this is most of your familiar direct question from our offline classes in NEET 2020. Okay, so please do make a note this these lines and diagram. Then next comes this Streptococcus pyogenes and Staphylococcus aureus. Experts they exhibit a particular toxin called as a super antigen that is called as PTS-AGS. That is the basic etiology for the occurrence of toxic shock syndrome and Staphylococcus food poisoning. Of course, this is the question that is given in one of the AIMS examination directly from the offline classes. Okay, that is what is this reaction and what happens and what you can see. Okay, so please do make a note. This is very, very important. And coming to the urease positive organisms, so please do make a note about this urease positive organisms names list. And next comes, this is a question that is I think it's, if I'm not wrong, it's 2018 NEET. Primary and secondary mediators. What are primary mediators? Okay, what are secondary mediators and what are their functions? So please do list out the at least remember the names. Okay, the next comes is type 5 or delayed hypersensitivity. So we have already discussed about what are the things which are involved in the delayed type of hypersensitivity, that is type 4. So two types of delayed hypersensitivities are there. Already the examples were given. One is tuberculin test that is useful for the initial diagnosis of TB, and contact dermatitis. So please do make a note in detail about the tuberculin test. Okay, the next comes the second one is cutaneous basophilic type, a localized reaction that is almost the same tuberculin test when it is injected intradermally. The injection mode of injection for tuberculin test is intradermally and it is partially transmitted by the serum. And the second one is contact dermatitis. So all these examples comes under contact dermatitis. Even your skin reaction to the mercury, or mercury is delayed type of hypersensitivity, type 4, it also comes under this. And most of your allergies related to your dental materials, they comes under the contact dermatitis type. And of course, spirochetes were discovered by the mobility is by endoflagella, that is called as floroflagella, and it's gram negative, stained with Indian ink. Okay, incubation period, please do make a note of all this stuff. This is how you can see it on the microscope view. Please do make a note about the examples of these. Okay, they can ask a diagram based question. Bipolar, opposite sides, monopolar, peritrichous. What is the examples of peritrichous and everything. And I hope like you're well familiar with this. Nowadays case based questions are very common. So they can ask you simple syphilis, or they can ask you which stage of syphilis. They can ask you the treatment plan. So all these are well discussed during our regular classes. And please do make a note. Punched out lesion, single lesion, painless lesion, avascular, non-bleeding, firm injuriated, lymphadenopathy will be there, but it is not. So the primary stage of syphilis is very common that you will have painless. All things you can identify, it's painless. So site of lesions most common, and everything like males, heterosexuals, homosexuals. Please do make it up. Second stage is most infectious stage. You can see yesterday in one of the sessions we were discussing among the lesions which are present, this is the one which is highly infectious. Already secondary syphilis is highly infectious, and among the lesions it is most infectious. You can see mucus patches, you can see snail tract ulcer, snail tract like ulcer. You can see this particular sign. So please do make a note of this particular point and everything. Latent syphilis, this is again the direct question from our regular classes. Okay, 2020 NEET question, very simple, like latent syphilis. Okay, you can easily identify the latent syphilis or the tertiary syphilis. You can easily identify it as the CVS and CNS signs. Any CVS and CNS signs, you can identify that. Okay, what happens here? Okay, so please do make a note of all this CNS, CVS, everything, gamma. Okay, please do make a note. All these points are important. Then last comes the congenital syphilis, crosses the placenta at any age onset. This is very important point. Okay, so all these points are important. Your Hutchinson triad is a part of this. Okay, so your Mulberry molars, your Hutchinson incisors. Then comes the Listeria, okay, which is a gram-positive organism, occurs in chain, long filamentous. The most commonly asked question is turbulent move. What is this basically? Turbulent move at 25 degrees centigrade and non-motile at 37 degrees centigrade. They have, that's what I'm talking about, peritrichous flagella present toward the body. And this is again a one more important test, Antony's test, okay, which is installed into the eyes of the rabbit, which leads to keratoconjunctivitis. And coming to the induration, that is, I'm talking about the tuberculin test. This is tuberculin test, type 4 delayed hypersensitivity. So I was talking about, this question was already given. Intradermal injection was given and examined after 78 to 48 hours. If it is more than 10 millimeters, then it is positive. If it is in the range of 5 to 7, that is negative. And if in the range of 6 to 9, then it is equal. It means you have to repeat the test again. Okay, so this is how you're going to measure the tuberculin test. Okay, it's a Muller's muscle, okay, which is related to the upper eyelid, a safety. Okay, do make a note of this muscle. The muscle was given as a PGI question, if I'm not wrong. Okay, this is one part of your microbiology. Will be coming with second part. Make sure you try to move fast. Okay, I'm getting lots of messages, calls in last 2 to 3 days. How to increase scores? No, this is not time to increase scores. This is time to move your books. This is time to turn as many pages as possible. This is a time to revision. This is a time to read. This is not time to get depressed, not time to get negative thoughts, not time to think about the plan B, not time to give a damn question that why I am here, why I am doing this. So these are all common things that regularly happens. Like probably 8 years back, I was in the similar situation that at the end of the day or at the end of the preparation phase, I was confused, like why I'm doing this, why I'm stressing myself. Yes, of course, I'm asking the same question, why you're stressing yourself. Now this is not a time to analyze your scores and try to improve the scores. Analyzing and implementing will take time. So we don't have time. We hardly have 3 to 4 days, 3 days from now for the examination. So we don't have time to do that. So don't worry about your scores. What best you can do in this limited 2 to 3 days is just sit, turn as much pages as possible. Okay, read as much as you can and revise as much as you can and stay positive with positive thoughts. You can ask me, sir, what is the purpose of this? No, there is no purpose of this, because magics will not happen in 2 or 3 days. Magics are going to happen in the examination hall on the day of examination. How? By keeping your brain, by keeping your skills properly, handling a particular question, coming out with the right answer. Then you can think of the magics are going to happen. Okay, so my suggestion is do this. This is only the possible thing where you can do the best on December 16, 2020. God bless you. Stay positive and try to move with the flow.